Hi everyone. We've just done 2 videos, so this is number 3. What we want to talk about, there's 12 guys on hunger strike down the camp, and we know just now one's been rushed to hospital. And I said there's another 2 more of this 12 sick. So, okay, what a... You know, it might be a stupid question, but for the layman out there, you know, why are these guys on a hunger strike?
It's a simple question. Like, no one just embark on a hunger strike for no reason. Okay, I know we have so many reasons why someone might want to embark on a hunger strike in their camp, but I think in this case of these guys, I think they want their freedom because they've stayed a long time.
They've been there a long time.
We have about 9 of them who've been there for like a year plus, and we have about 3 of them who's been there like 7, 8 months, 9 months, and you mean like they literally face there's an apparent deportation facing them, so they're actually protesting that they don't want to get deported back to their country, and these are guys from Syria, by the way. And some, these are guys.
Oh, are they all guys from Syria?
They are Yazidi. And as you know, we know that Syria is not a safe place for anyone to be deported back to. Neither is Turkey a safe place for anyone to be deported back to.
Definitely
not. And and some of them, they've had their interviews appealed, and they're all negative. You know. And now
I don't understand why. I mean, you, Philippa, you know more about the nationalities in these group. But why aren't the Syrians? I mean, the Syrians are definitely war refugees. No one's got any doubt. You can't tell me there's one MP. Well, there might be millions of MPs in Europe that says it's not a war in Syria, but there is a war in Syria. We know it's going on. Why are these guys on hunger strike? Why aren't they being moved on? Why aren't they being looked after? Because they are war refugees.
It doesn't make sense to me because they're from Kobani, which is north Aleppo. Some of them are Kurdish, so they're definitely not safe if they go back to Turkey. They're Syrian Kurds.
Oh God,
yeah. Okay. Some aren't Kurdish, but half of the guys are. One of the guys is underage. 2 of the guys I know personally, which makes it even harder, and they've been here over a year. To the extent that one speaks fluent Greek now and very good English because they've been stuck here so long. Why are these young guys not allowed to be refugees? Why are they still not got their second interview after 14 months of being in Greece? It doesn't make any sense, which is why they've resorted to the extreme of not just hunger strike, they actually haven't had any water now for 3 days. One's been taken to hospital a few hours ago with kidney failure, and the others are not in a very good condition, and their attitude at the moment for these young guys, some of them are 19, 20, one is claiming to be under 18 but has no birth certificate. They'd rather die than continue this torture, and they know if they go back to Turkey that their life is done anyway. So.
I mean, let's just for the people watching the videos. I mean, the reason this video in particular, the reason we're doing this is because this is just being hushed up. You know, these guys have been on hunger strike and that, but it's not in the media. It's not, you know, there's a few odd things going on social media. But why is it, you know, when we have all these children, refugee children going missing, 20,000 I think it is now, and everything else, the media throughout Europe doesn't want to know? Why is it when you got young people, you know, especially Syrian people that are coming from a war zone, they've been like put in this camp for some of them a year, 10 months, and you know, it's all being hushed up, you know. I mean, this is wrong. Don't you think? Why is it?
I don't know. The media, I mean, going back to the UK, talking to people, they're like, well, why are you still working with refugees? It's all over. Like, it's done. I mean, the amount of people now, you can see the numbers from Syria and from Iraq especially going up. I don't know. People want this over and they don't want to have to face it. So the media's focused on other things like Brexit and Donald Trump and the other nonsense. It's all smoke and mirrors. They're just distracting people from what's really going on.
Yeah, with the media, I think the media also, they are kind of they are, you know, what I can say about this whole stuff is that the whole stuff is being played like it's being played in terms of politically and stuff like because even us where we come from, you hear last time we told you we had some issue, we had a meeting with Asylum Greek, Asylum whatever, and he was trying to tell us that no, there's no problem in your country, and that the military have actually pushed the Taliban's to a border and stuff. He was so accurate, and and he was not there. He had never been to Nigeria before.
No, he sat in an office.
He just Googled something on the internet and he's out. And I'm saying, okay, and just for instance, I'm just giving you an instance. And just this this week, about 9 soldiers were killed. And a barrack was bombed and all the armors
I mentioned.
Yeah,
this morning 120
I'm saying just
soldiers lost their lives in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and a barrack, I'm saying a whole barrack was ambushed and all their armored cars in Nigeria was taken.
Oh, in Nigeria. Okay.
So why these people, why is it that they only hear, I mean, we are Nigerians. We know our country very well. And we are not just in Nigeria, in the average Nigeria. I was privileged. I mean, I know a lot about my country. Like, I don't need a UN or I don't need, whoever to tell me about my country or about the state of my country. Because that's where I was born, that's where I was raised, and I studied about my country. I know how my country runs. And so when it comes to the issue of media, I think it's something that applies to every country, in the world where the government wants to, create this kind of
illusion
image that says that the country is well and it's fine, so that they can get the foreign investors come in, because they want to protect their interests. Because if you check out all the businesses, the multi-billion businesses in the country, it's being run by them. And if you give a bad impression about the country, especially with the media, because that's the issues where you can, irate the welfare or whatever is going on in your country. Automatically, the foreign investors, foreign investor would want to go and invest in a country where there is security, security threats and stuff like that. So in that way, their interests would be, at risk. So the only way they can protect their interests is to put a policy or put a regulation that says, okay, if you own a media house, this and this, you should not publish it. If we found you, publishing an article that has to do with the image of our country, we take your license, and that way that's kind of a trade whereby, and you know what it means for your license to write articles and stuff like. So it's literally, they tell you what kind of article they want you to write and what kind of things they want you to say, especially when it has to be on the internet, because everyone can read anything wherever they are in the world, So that's the thing with, I think that's what is also happening here in Greek, where sometimes you don't even know that people are dying. I never knew we had a burial ground for refugees in Greek. And I swear to God, until somebody close to me died, that's when I got to know, like, there is a burial ground for refugees, not for Greeks. Like, it's meant for the refugees. You don't find a Greek person buried there. It's for refugees. And you see, when you get to the side, you see, you just be shocked. Like, when did all these people die? When did they die? Some people were sick in the camp and they were taken to the hospital. That was the last time you see them. They died. Nobody heard about, and maybe next thing they say, no, they are dead. For us, like for me, I have a brother, so if I die or if he dies, someone can say, oh, this is what happened. But we have people who came here all by themselves, no relatives, no family. So when they die, they just die.
Even those with family, they're still looking for their relative. They know they were here.
So it's just a game like they play. For me, it's just playing game with human life, because how can you want a media or someone to only write? Okay, for instance, we had issue just yesterday in Moria where we had some journalists from I don't know wherever they come from, but I mean you can tell like the journalists they wanted to pass some vital information to the refugees. They were showing some empathy to us, like oh guys, this shouldn't have happened, and they were trying to lecture us, give us some lectures on how to deal with our situation. Like this is your right, and because so many people don't even know what what a right it means for them to be a refugee. Some people think being a refugee means you're worth nothing. You can talk, you can do anything. Your life has to be dictated, But that's not true. So, and when these guys came, the police were intimidated, and that's where the Euro relief comes in play. That's why I always say the Euro relief. They are not actually they are spies. Because what happened yesterday was that while these journalists were having, I mean, this was outside of the camp. We were having the meeting. They were trying to give lectures and stuff like that, And the Euro relief, who was just by chance passing by, and because they have been instructed that when you see a particular section of people around the camp, you should report to the police. And the person, this Euro relief, they actually ran to the police and said, "Oh, there's some journalists, and we think they are not part of us. Like they are not part of the conspiracy to frustrate or to, kill the refugees. So I think you guys had to come before they pass that information that will actually be, devastating to the whole stuff."
Actually, yesterday I was there present. When the Euro relief guy came. So they wanted to join us and have the meeting. We told them that they are not invited. These are our friends. We have some chat.
This is outside the camp. It's not in the camp.
It's outside the camp. Yeah. So and it's a public place where you can stay and have meeting or talk to each other and stuff like that. And I cannot be discussing with my friends and you want to join me. I say no. You don't have to join me. I sit there, you can sit on your own and you move immediately to call police. Means that they all prove it to every person, even our visitors and our guests, they prove it to them that they are really taking part on the political game that is going on refugee in the Moria camp. So we accepted it. Meanwhile, in the area of somebody telling you that nothing is happening in your country, that so many the terrorism or something like that. I think the person should know that seeking for international protection is not of your country. You are seeking for a protection that your life is in danger as a person. So I think seeing it in that side will be a great thing to see it that it's an individual you are dealing with, because you can't tell me that any country will tell you that its government is bad or things that are happening there is bad.
So what? Tell me what you really think about this. What sort of training do you think these people get that interview you? Because a lot of them are very young, aren't they?
Are you talking about the Euro relief?
No, not Eurolief, the ASO, is it? The European Asylum people?
Well.
What sort of training do they how old are they, roughly?
The thing there is that the asylum service, I think they are trained for such position. So what I understand is that I believe that any interviewer believes you to prove to him.
Yeah.
You understand? Not the interviewer to tell you totally that you are wrong on what you are saying.
Yeah, but the point is, if they, as Felix was saying earlier, if they don't know what's going on in your country, how can they say to you they don't believe what you're saying? If they don't believe what's going on, so what sort of people are these people? Are they just someone that goes along for a job and they dress smart and they say, okay, you can have a job, and you just have to interview these people?
Yeah, I got tired when a Greek asylum service representative came up in a meeting of UNHCR and that of other organization in the camp that attend, and the community leaders from different countries that attend, to say that Boko Haram issue in Nigeria is nothing of refugee. So when I heard it, I said, are they talking to human beings or people that are not learned or something?
Yeah. Well, because we have 2-point-something million displaced Nigeria.
Yeah.
2-point-something million. That's official.
Yeah.
That's the official figure.
Yeah.
But whenever there is a crisis, the media would never give you. The government gives the figure that they want you to have.
Yeah.
They will never give you the actual figure.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, we have about 5 to 6 million.
But my
Nigeria,
my point is here, like they've got these. I mean, I've seen some of them, and they're very young, in their 20s and stuff. These people that are meant to be experienced in life and everything else, and they are making the decision on your life, and they're making a big decision on your life, because especially Kurdish, Syrian Kurds, and people like this that they're sending back to Turkey that are going to disappear and maybe die, and Afghans going back into Kabul. And the Taliban are waiting for him to get off the planes and stuff like this. So this young person, I mean, I don't know what sort of training these people get.
If you ask me, I would say from the ones that I've actually seen, I mean, the way they even interview you, the way they ask you the question, you could see like they don't even want you.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're a young person. They come there. They have a job to do. So maybe their job is being given to them by the European Commission or something else.
That's what it is.
And they say to them, well, okay, do your best to get rid of these people.
Okay, recently I know some guys that they went for interview for just like 30 minutes. And you want to hear the facts, what made the person flew.
Yeah, in 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes.
It's their whole bloody life.
So you say, come and sign that the interview is done.
And when you've gone in, I mean, I've heard from other refugees, when you go into these offices and they ask you, they're going to make a decision on your life, whether you go back to your country or whether you can stay. When you go into the office, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, you let me know, that the first thing they do is give you a bit of paper to say your life is so bad in this camp and everything else, you're better off home with your family in the warm and things like this. Is that true? They give you a bit of paper, you sign a voluntary bit of paper to go home.
No, actually, if you go for the interview, they ask you your data and they put it in the system, ask you what makes you come and what will make you not to go back to your country.
Okay.
Then from there, they start asking questions with the two things you involve. What makes you flee your country and what makes you feel that you cannot be returned back to your country. Okay. I think these two things have a lot of questions in there. So, but so many of us are expecting for you to, because we believe that as an interviewer, so you are not with us, you are not there when things that made us to flee happened. You need to interview us. There's some questions and facts so that you get the facts, not to ask a lighty question and you conclude. Maybe in 2 weeks' time you say the person has been rejected. Why you've not heard from the person rightly? So I think if they are bringing people to interview people, they should bring professionals, not people that are just being opportune to have a job.
Yeah, it's just something. I see him the other week when I was there, other month I was there, and when a couple of lads died from the cold in the camp, and the police escorted this agency out, the asylum seeking agency out, and they all looked in their 20s, all looked like young kids, and I thought, God, surely these people should be more mature people that have seen a bit of life and will understand someone that's fleeing from war and things like this. This is why I asked this question.
Well, in regards to your question, it is correct. You are correct, because at some point we had the IMO, which is also part of the UN, if I'm not mistaken, and they pasted some notice all over the Moria camp, and they were encouraging people to say that it is better for you to go back to your country, voluntarily, that you are going to get it out.
Well, I've heard this story.
It's not a story; it's a reality.
It's a reality.
If I get opportunity, I'll walk around in the camp. I'll show you where, if I can still see the post, because people got angry and they turned it, but
Yeah.
I'll see if there's any post left.
Yeah,
I'll
take a
photo,
photograph
you
of
know.
me. Yeah,
But it was at some point after putting the post, a guy actually, one of the guy who maybe is a representative of the IMO actually came to call the guys, and we thought maybe he wanted to give us the good news, and he almost got stoned because some people were like, are you serious? You want to deport people? You're encouraging people to go back to where they fled from, like people fleeing because they were accused for a crime that they never knew nothing about. Or people who even managed, they escape narrowly from being killed, and you want them to return back.
So what's your views on now we've gone that, we know, okay, there's been signs put up and I was told that people have been given these things to sign to go back to their own countries. What's your views on what people say to me? They make us suffer deliberately, so we sign these forms.
Well, it's very clear. Sometimes they don't like handcuff you or put you in the prison or whatever, but they deny you of some.
You don't get water.
Some
you don't
basic,
get,
they make you bath cold water when it's extremely cold.
Yeah.
That way, that's the kind of torture. So you can actually give in and say, okay, enough. I think I want to go. I told you of a guy who walked into Moria and immediately went to them and said, no, I'd rather go fight the war than come and stay here. Yeah. Let me just go back and, whatever is my fate there, I just know, instead of me to pretend like I am safe here, whereas I'm just dying slowly, mentally, and, just so... And they refused. Yeah, they refused. They said, no, you don't have to. Okay, and that's just one of the instances, But I'm saying that it's a kind of torture. For me personally, if you ask me to give my view about what is going on, I think they've almost applied all their, tactics that they know of, just to get people frustrated, and so that people would actually. And now they say, I heard of a guy who they promise we will give you €1,000, and when you get to your country, we also set up a business, which is a very total lie.
Just to get you to sign the paper.
Just to get. I mean, first of all, how can you start up a business for someone that there's a war going on in this country, and how can you start up a business for someone who is actually being declared wanted in his home country?
And the most funny part of the whole thing is that sending IOM to come and talk to the people, deliver message to people to come and voluntarily sign if you got rejected for the first time, or if not, you've never done it, if you want to go back to your country. When the whole thing is coming up, I look at it that, are they making decisions before the time? Because sending IOM to talk to somebody that is on appeal or somebody that they want to do his interview, automatically showing us that they want to make the decision for every person. Because I think such a thing shouldn't have come up in any way. Somebody come for international protection, you never allow the person to go do process, and you are sending another organization to come and inform him the implication when he's never gotten to you've never seek for the protection.
There's a big
funny things. There has been that they are telling you that no need of coming to seek for the protection because you will not have it.
That's right. So you got to go home.
Yeah, you
sign
got
this
to
bit of paper.
decide now.
This is a thing that's is cropping up all the time now. Like what's coming out of the European Union regarding the way they're making human beings, suffer as much as they can. So they want to go back home. So and it's coming up time and time again. All this suffering that's going on is being implemented by the European Commission or the European Parliament or both to make the refugees go back home. And the more they make the refugees suffer, the less will come. And when there's things like the snow and stuff went out and it went public and that, you know, the European Commission and the European Parliament are jumping up and down with laughter, because the more publicity they get on people suffering, the better it looks for them, because they think that it go around the world that these people are dying and suffering, so less refugees come. Is this the case that this is coming out? What do you think? If this is the case, it's coming out of the European Parliament or European Commission, or do you think because they employ these underage children, you know, not underage, but these children in their 20s to look at your asylum process? Do you think these children are making this story up, or do you think they're under rules from Parliament, European Parliament or European Commission? Do they have a directive? Do you think these young children in their 20s that are coming and they give them a job and they're pretending these things?
Sometimes I don't blame the people much, because you know, when you send the child a message to go and deliver to someone, the child will exactly do what
you said. Okay, yeah, so, okay, yeah. Okay.
So I believe that this is what they have decided on their own. So, and after the suffering, they are put refugees in by food, by environmental hazard, and all stuff like that. So they find out that these people are actually came for protection. So they can adapt to any system that you give them. They look at it that way is not working. Then they bring the way of interview. It get me worried. Even most of us that have been in a professional outfit, you know, we know what interview is all about.
Because you were a police officer.
Yeah, I've been in investigation department. You know what it means for you to gather information on somebody's statement and be convinced if whether he's guilty or not guilty. So it's not something you just come up, you do 30 minutes, 20, 25 minutes interview, and you say the person should sign. The interview is go and wait for result. In 2 weeks' time, you give the results. And given the result, you send IOM immediately that they should go and deliver this message again to them and let them know that the people, if you go reject the second time, if you appeal, go reject the second time, you have to go back to Turkey. And it's better for you to come and sign to go back to your country, so that they will give you €1,000 and maybe promise you other things to shop for you and take you back to your country.
But that's just lies.
It sounds so funny. Means that the person you rejected that appealed will not get the appeal. That is what you are telling. When you are sending message to somebody that is on appeal, or somebody that have never done interview, that look at the program we have for you, means that you've concluded that you will not accept the person. So that takes judgment before the agency.
Okay.
So the whole thing is funny.
Okay, I'm going to shut this one down, and I'm going to do one more quick one. It's been nice to. I mean, we were chatting to the guys this morning, everything else. I mean, the reason we're doing this basically is because of the hunger strikers and that, and they're not really getting the publicity. But it is amazing to see the insides of the camp. You know, we have talked many times over many months and years about different things in the camps and stuff, but it never gets put down. You know, all the time. You know, the way the refugees feel when they're in the camp and what goes on within the camps. So it's nice to have that insight. Okay, I'll shut this one down, everyone, and I'm going to open up one more. And